First wave of COVID-19, and this was in June.
Reported its first coronavirus case the very same day.
With a new outbreak of COVID-19 cases,
tinggi kes positif COVID-19 dicatatkan iaitu
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ubadah and I'll be the first presenter for our group. Our group chose the COVID-19 as our issue for the presentation. So the topic for our presentation will be how the Ministry of Human Resources handles the COVID-19 situation in Malaysia. Before we proceed with the issues that the Ministry of Human Resources handles, we must first know what is Ministry of Human Resources. So, the Ministry of Human Resources, they have been established ever since the first day of independence, which is the 31st August 1957, which is exactly 63 years ago. And the building is currently located at Putrajaya. So, from the budget of 2020, the amount of budget allocated to the Ministry of Human Resources is a total of 1.2 billion ringgit Malaysia. So, this is a huge amount despite it is before the COVID-19 situation. Now, for the budget of 2021, one might say that because of the COVID-19 situation and the total amount of budget that has supposedly be the biggest amount ever recorded in the history of Malaysia, so one might say that Ministry of Human Resources may receive a huge amount as well. But they have also received still the same amount of budget allocated, which is 1.2 billion as well, roughly the same. One might say that maybe the total amount is still the same, but the activities that the Ministry of Human Resources will be different. Now, for the breakdown of both the budget 2020 and 2021, we can say that it can be divided into management costs and development costs. So the management costs for the year 2020 and 2021, we can say that they receive roughly the same. They have roughly the same amount of budget breakdown, which is 800 million. But for the development costs of the 2020 and 2021, they are also roughly the same, which is 400 million. Now, one might question that this is the budget that has been allocated to the Ministry of Human Resources might not be accurate, might not be able to help with the COVID-19 situation in Malaysia. But throughout the presentation, we will say that there are also other incentives that has been provided by the government that is not included in the budget of 2021, and also the current Ministry of Human Resources is Yang Bahagia Datuk Seri M. Saravanan. So proceed with this next slide. So the function of Ministry of Human Resources is they are responsible for skills development, labour, occupational, safety and health, trade unions, industrial relation, industrial court, labour market information, and analysis and social security. From this function, we can already tell that Ministry of Human Resources plays a huge role during this COVID-19 situation, and their vision is to be the leading agency in development and management of a world-class workforce. And their mission is to develop skilled knowledge and competitive workforce, to ensure safety and health of workforce, and to be the leader in development of nations' human resources. Although they have stated a total of 6 missions for the Ministry of Human Resources, we summarize it, for the sake of this presentation, we summarize it into 3. So the roles and responsibilities of Ministry of Human Resources is also to update and implement labour policies and laws to create efficient, productive and disciplined workforce, to update and implement occupational safety and health policies, and to create job opportunities and job placement. Also, for the roles and responsibilities, the Ministry of Human Resources actually covers a lot more than these 3. But for the sake of this presentation, we summarize it to these 3 main responsibilities that they handle. So proceeding with the next slide, we can see that the first issue that the COVID-19 that Ministry of Human Resources handle is unemployment. As we can already tell, unemployment is a huge issue and perhaps the biggest issue that will be discussed today in this presentation. So unemployment rate for the year 2020 for 2019 is 3.3%. This is before the COVID-19 situation. Thus, we can say that it is a normal rate for an unemployment rate. But throughout this year, from the Department of Statistics Malaysia, they have already calculated from the month of January up to September, which is a total of 4.6%, which is a huge increase considering this an increment of 1.3%. Despite the percentages being a low number, this is saying that the employment rate is increasing, and there is a study conducted by the IMF, International Monetary Fund, that say that by December 2020, Malaysia would have a 5.2 percentage of unemployment rate. Now this is a big issue, but in August 2020, because of the economic stimulus package and all the helps that government are doing, the number of labour workforce actually increased by 76.6 thousands, and to record 15.9 million persons as compared to July 2020. So there is a huge increment of labour despite the COVID-19 situation. Now, before we proceed, the next presentation will be presented by Brother Arif. So, thank you.
Okay, now I will continue on the current solution by our government, which is the Ministry of Human Resource. There are 5 solutions that we found. The first one is improve legal framework of employment insurance schemes. They are managed by SOCSO, which was introduced back in 2017. They extend the role of EIS beyond job matching and insurance benefit, and it could provide real-time employment data, help in making labour market policy analysis. The second one is wage subsidy program. It was also managed by SOCSO, and it was introduced back in April 2020. The objective was to so that employer can continue operating and preventing employees from losing their jobs. They have allocated around 19.1 billion for wage subsidy program, and it will affect 329,240 employers and also 2.7 million employees. The third solution that we found is SOCSO self-employment and self-security scheme, which are 50 million for contribution payment in the gig economy. The fourth solution is hiring incentive program. It aims to provide 300,000 jobs, and employers are given direct cash incentive if they hire Malaysian workers. And the last solution that we found is redeployment initiative, which being given permission to replace laid off foreign workers with the local workers, and the involved bodies is Department of Manpower Peninsular Malaysia, Social Security Organisation SOCSO, and also Pembangunan Sumber Manusia Berhad PSMB. We also found a solution which was implemented by other countries. We have found 2 countries, which are Singapore and also New Zealand. For Singapore, they introduced SG United package to create the 100,000 jobs. SG United is a platform to help Singaporeans to access immediate short-term and also long-term jobs opportunities. The second one is New Zealand. They strengthen leave support scheme, which available for employers, including self-employed people, to help pay their employees who need to self-isolate and can't work from home. So next, we move on to our proposed solutions. We have 3 proposed solutions for MoHR. The first one is adopt short-term working scheme. Short-term working scheme is for 6 month periods. It helps lower costs and also avoid layoff, and also give assurance on future employment. The second one is limit foreign professional. It helps. It gives more opportunities to Malaysian workers and also Malaysian professional workers, and also better replacement for fresh graduates. The last one is increased wage subsidy program. The current subsidy program is only 600 ringgit per employee. We propose that they increase the minimum the subsidy program from 600 to around 800 to 1,000 ringgit so that people can sustain their life during this pandemic. Next, we move on to the limitation to implement this solution. The first is company may need some time to fully adopt the short-term working scheme, and also the second was short-term working scheme may not be applicable to some companies. This is because not all industry can fully utilize the short-term working scheme as we look at medical industry. It is quite not possible for them to implement. The third one is some Malaysian may not be able to match the skill provided by foreign worker. Yes, because this is because Malaysia we lack the professional skills among our Malaysians, and before this we rely too much on the professional skills from foreign workers. The fourth one is the constraint budgeting to increase the wage subsidy program. And last one is some companies may lay off the employees to get the most amount of wage subsidy program.
The second issue is on the health and safety of employees during the COVID-19 pandemic. This issue needs to be tackled in a right way to give comfort for employees to work and adapt to the new norm. It can be seen that this case had been widely discussed over media platforms as it related to the health of many people. When we talk about health, there will always be two sides of it, both the physical and mental health. The physical health is easier to be identified through various symptoms, including fever, cough, or cold. During this pandemic, employees could possibly contracting the coronavirus either because of their nature of work, such as frontliners, or they may be exposed to it through meeting with infected people. There will always be a risk for an employee to get the virus. On the other hand, mental health is an illness that is hard to be identified just by looking at an appearance of someone. In the year 2019, National Health and Morbidity Survey has recorded 2.3% of Malaysian adults already in depression, which was even before COVID-19 is here. The existence of the pandemic is then adding on the significant stress on employees. The thing is, why does this even happen? Studies say that most are probably because of job insecurities, financial difficulties, and isolation. Now, we look into the solutions that have been taken by the ministry. In February 2020, the Ministry of Human Resources has announced the guidelines on handling issues relating to contagious outbreaks including novel coronavirus. This was made with an objective to protect the rights of employees, such as regarding leaves and salaries, during this hard time while taking employees' concerns into consideration. In March this year, the Department of Occupational Safety and Health under MoHR had come up with the Safe Work Procedure for Prevention of COVID-19 at Workplace as an effort to minimize risk of contracting the virus while working. Here, we realized that all these efforts had been focusing only on physical health of employees but none for the mental health. Now, how do other countries solve the issue? The same issue we are all facing right now. In United Kingdom, the government published framework for voluntary reporting to support employers to record and voluntarily report information on disability, mental health, and well-being in the workplace. Then, in Japan, they had developed the stress check program as national policy. It is seen as an efficient way in improving employees' mental health by assessing stress risks on an individual basis. And our neighboring country, Singapore, has formulated a tripartite advisory on mental well-being. This was made to educate and assist employers in overcoming mental health issues among employees in order to have better working environment. After looking at all the issues, we propose Ministry of Human Resources to integrate the Employee Assistance Program (EAP) into the Employment Act 1995. The EAP has long been designed to assist employees in overcoming their personal problems that could affect work performance. Ensuring the EAP adopted by all employees in Malaysia will help in combating the growing mental health problem, which had been worse since the pandemic started. However, we had considered some limitations that may hinder this good work. The first is because lack of preparedness among employers, especially those from SME, because there is the need to add on some costs. Then, there are still social stigma that look mental health in a negative way, which may stop employees from reaching out for help. And most concerning barrier is on the insufficient number of psychologists in our country, which could not cater the need of all organizations in Malaysia in need of their service.
Next, we look on to the third and final issue, which relates to productivity and performance among employees. As many reports have shown, there has been a lower productivity rate among our nation due to this unprecedented pandemic, and we are currently devising solutions to help employers resolve this downward trend and improve the productivity and performance in its organization and nation as a whole. Remote working isn't just a short-term phase, as many nations and organizations have been implementing plans to extend their remote working for a couple more years. And as it currently stands in Malaysia, only 10% of managerial and supervisor are allowed at worksite, and time allowed at office is only between 4 hours, and that's following the requirement to limit the numbers of employees in the office. But during this remote working, studies have shown that 77% of employees have dropped in their productivity level, while only 23% have maintained or able to increase their productivity level. And the main reason for this percentage is due to four main factors, which are slow internet speed, family distraction, reduced access to resources, and delay in response time and decision making. All these factors has been a prominent due to moving from a traditional workplace to a more informal work from home working scenario. The Ministry of Human Resources have stepped in, and these are the current solution and regulations set by the ministry. First is that payment of salary is as usual, and employers should not be taking this opportunity or this event as a way to limit the amount of salary distributed, and they should not force their employees to take annual leave or take unpaid leave. Next, the ministry has been providing Pejana PRDF initiative to design employees to train in moving towards a digitalized economy and working environment in order to adapt themselves to provide a more productive and higher performance work during this pandemic stage. In coming up with our alternative, we look upon and studied how other countries approach this issue. And the first country that we look upon is Singapore and its Enterprise Development Grant, in which they utilize this grant to review and redesign workflow and process of an organization. And this company can integrate automation and technology towards their routine work to make it more efficient and effective. The second country is Thailand, in which they were the first ASEAN country to launch 5G internet. 5G internet provides a larger bandwidth and a higher speed for their user to use, and this will significantly increase the productivity of the employees in their work. And last but not least is New Zealand's 4-day working week, in which this initiative is to reduce the stress of their employees and also push their people to enjoy their weekend in order to revive the tourism industry in the nation, which has been suffering due to this pandemic. This approach does follow the European way of Nixon, a art of doing nothing, in which their people will spend one day just pondering and relaxing and avoiding any stress-related work in order to have a more efficient and a balanced work life. For our proposed solution, we have devised two alternatives to encounter this issue. The first solution is to provide funding for a virtual shared workplace, a workplace in which employees can book a room with their co-worker for collaboration and discussion on their work. This environment leans more towards the traditional working environment, as you will feel more motivated to look upon other people working hard on their work. But this solution does come with its limitation. Firstly, its security issue. As you are in a shared working space, you're also sharing the same network, and this could pose an opportunity for a security breach. The second limitation is poaching of employees, as competitor could take this opportunity to observe the best talent and poach them from your organization. And the last limitation is privacy. As you are sharing this workplace with other people, people can observe and listen to your discussion, and this limits the privacy of your work relating to your company. Our second proposed solution is to provide a comprehensive industry-forward program, a program that focuses on SME companies to train their employees for a higher technological aspiration. And this is conducted by workshop or by reviewing and giving feedback on the company's technological process and providing them assistance towards digital appliance, hyperconnectivity, and remote employee monitoring system. But this program does come with its limitation, firstly on its implementation, as it will take step by step rather than integrating everything at once. And the second limitation is towards security concern, as the ever-present of threat towards data breach and the high possibility of cyber attacks towards company with technological integration.
In conclusion, the existence of COVID-19 pandemic has brought an increase of problems that in need of the right solutions. The Ministry of Human Resources have to be more proactive and dynamic in making decisions to fulfill the need of its stakeholders, which is the employers and employees in Malaysia. Lastly, we hope that our proposed solutions, which are in line with the vision and mission of MoHR, are able to address current growing issues in our country.
And we have come to the end of our presentation on COVID-19 issues from the perspective of Ministry of Human Resources. And that is all from us. Thank you.